Hi folks, welcome to your latest mwis planning outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Now, just about coming to the end of winter in May, as we've seen through this past week, but we've got some rather unsettled conditions that will dominate over the days ahead. A powerful Atlantic weather system sweeping into Saturday with some extensive rain, some snowfall pretty widely across the mountains too, especially in the highlands. Beyond that, temperatures are generally warmer, so typically we'll be seeing mostly rain, but some hail as well at times still, and some heavy downpours and some thunderstorms will be around as well. All in all, looks rather unsettled for a few days ahead. We'll start off with the freezing level chart, and this is first thing on Saturday, and we've got a warm front that's pushing its way northwards, quite a marked boundary of temperature then that's taking place, but we've still got the cold air that's around first thing, and initially we'll see some snowfall across the higher tops in northern England, and that cold air stays around long enough in Scotland to see snow onwards well through the daytime. Maybe only back end of the day it just starts to turn more to rain up to higher levels, but above around 500 or 600 metres snow will fall across the highlands for a good number of hours. By the end of the day there, just get that sense of the colder air being pushed further away northwards. As we move onwards, we'll see generally higher temperatures in place, although into Sunday we'll still have the highest tops in Scotland close to freezing point, but I would suspect will rise just a degree or so above, even up to Ben Nevis summit, and across England and Wales we're in a generally milder air mass. That milder air will be around into the new week as well, so as we skip this chart on, you'll get the sense that the freezing level is well above the hills. The only contour that we've got is around 1400 metres shown on this chart, so you might just about be around freezing point on Ben Nevis and the highest Cairngorms, but typically we'll be above zero. We're not likely to see frost in the forecast for the week ahead. We might just need to watch for chillier air though coming back into northern Scotland at some point after the middle of the week, as the wind flow here turns more north or northeasterly, so there could just be a lowering of freezing level for a while in the far north. Your synoptic charts go like this. Saturday then sees a widespread frontal system pushing northwards then, extensive rain and hill snow as mentioned. We've got some strong winds around too, gale force for periods. They'll vary in speed and direction as we go through the day, typically east or southeasterlies for the highlands, more south-southwesterlies across England and Wales. For Wales, we're likely to see the most persistent of the strongest winds, often gale force on the higher mountains through the day, and as a front just continues to trail in here, it's likely that rain will be around through the daytime as well. Often heavy, particularly across mid and south Wales, but areas around Snowdon too, just likely to see continued heavy falls coming in. The rain may break up for a time across northern England, but the risk of some heavy showers, maybe isolated thundery bursts into the afternoon. The far northwest of the highlands getting away driest and brightest for the longest. Just quickly, your sequence through the day, hour by hour for Saturday looks like this. You start off mainly dry across Scotland, but that whole zone of precipitation to the south will sweep northwards, so just filling in with time by the middle of the day in the central southern highlands, and all of that pushing northwards too. You can just see that heavier rain still feeding in to mid and south Wales as mentioned. As we go overnight into Sunday, that front will still be around, so some further heavy falls becoming very wet underfoot across many of the Welsh mountains, and the likelihood of some rain still being around into Sunday daytime across the Pennine areas, the Peak District, and maybe the odd heavy burst still breaking out through into the afternoon. But much of that rain with the front will clear, just though watch out for a few showers still sparking off. We are generally in a milder air mass then as we go into Sunday, a tropical maritime type of flow having come up from the southwest. The characteristics of that air mass will begin to change a bit though as we head onwards into the start of next week, and more on that in a moment. We've got the remnants of the front across England and Wales with those bursts of rain around for a time. Some patchy rain still feeding in to western hills in Wales, around Dumfries and Galloway, the odd shower perhaps for the Lake District too, and some heavy showers breaking out through the day across the highlands where winds are light. These could become quite slow moving, the odd heavy burst with hail and isolated thunder. Strongest of the winds focused around westernmost hills in Wales, could still be gale force across the higher slopes. Now, low pressure is likely to be parked just to the west of us for a few days into next week. At one point, it looked like this might try and drift a bit further eastwards and put us back into a chillier northwesterly flow. Well, instead, we seem to find ourselves under what we'd refer to as a returning polar maritime air mass. Now, this is one that's inherently cool, coming from the North Atlantic, but has drifted away to the south or southwest of Britain, picking up some more warmth and some moisture, and then just likes to throw the kitchen sink at us. It's a rather unstable story, so you can expect some heavy downpours to be in the forecast, breaking out increasingly through the daytime with the warmth of the May sunshine, and the threat of some hail and some thunderstorms, perhaps greater risk of thunder than what we've seen even in the recent showery periods. So that's one really to be aware of for a few days next week, that these downpours are more likely to be thundery. Very hit and miss in terms of where they form, but if you do catch a shower, you're likely to know about it. The wind speeds will vary, could be locally very gusty, some lulls will be around. The strongest of the winds for Monday, again, seem to be focused across West Wales. Not much changing with that general story into Tuesday. The low centred somewhere over Ireland. Detail is going to be very sketchy. Again, expect some heavy downpours to break out. There will be local variations, just where there's some locally rising or descending air. Now that will give variations then between clusters of showers, heavy and thundery, and some places escaping dry for at least a good part of the day. So a hit and miss story, but expect some downpours to be around again. Similar into Wednesday, the only main difference by this point is that higher pressure is showing to build a bit more toward the north. That's strengthening an east or northeasterly wind across northern parts of Scotland. And this is where we start to see some chillier air just trying to get back into the far north of the Highlands, which may just put some of the higher tops around freezing point again. Otherwise, the wind falling light and some slow-moving downpours will brew up as we go through the daytime. It's going to become quite a slow-moving weather situation then as we go toward the later part of the week. The general message of low pressure nearby, high pressure toward the northwest, and just that chilly flow that tries to get back in for a time. Now we could find quite a strong northeasterly wind that's in place around Thursday into Friday, some gusty conditions around the higher slopes and in places just to the west of some of the major summits. If that easterly flow does develop, it may well give some dry days back end of the week for west and northern Scotland as high pressure starts to build, but still some showery conditions further south, greatest risk the South Pennines and Wales. Now we might just get a few days of drier conditions for many places, but we're struggling to completely get high pressure to build over the top of us. It instead stays somewhere just to the north, and a slack zone of low pressure is still frustratingly nearby, even around next weekend. So the scope for some further showery outbreaks must be in the story at this stage. Not quite convinced we'll get into genuinely settled weather for too long at the moment. You can stay up to date with your local forecasts, of course, every day on the MWis website. That's been your latest planning outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.